What really inspires a person to be a senior caregiver or a health coach? I'm here with John and Valerie Ryuchi. Valerie does a lot of senior health care and is a health coach, and she wants to tell the story of what influenced her to do what she does now.
I was in healthcare as a physical therapist assistant for 24 years plus, and then I met my husband, and that started the path of being more focused on a lifestyle change due to his health condition, but also a condition of my own. So we decided together as we were going along to just eat better, be healthier, and help other people who were having health issues to do the same.
And obviously that's very fulfilling.
Yeah, it is.
So along the way you met John.
Yes.
Along the way.
Yep.
And I understand there was a story involved with John coming back to health. He had something going on, I believe.
Yep, John was, you tell that part.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for many years at 20 I had bone cancer, and then I had many surgeries and ended up with heart failure. So for 25 years I was disabled and unable to work, and met Valerie, and about a year and a half later we decided to get married, and my heart went downhill very fast.
Trying to keep up with me.
Trying to keep up with Valerie. So that was like, I was very stubborn. Had lived with this for a very long time, so I decided that I could just take some more medicines and be okay. But Valerie came to me, a funny story is she came to me with a calendar, and she said, pick a day. And I was like, pick a day. She said, yeah, pick a day to die, because I'm very busy. So that kind of got my attention, and I decided that I should go immediately to go see the doctors again. And when I did, they said, yeah, she's pretty much right, so you need to stay here.
So Valerie was your inspiration.
She was definitely my inspiration.
Okay.
But there were some healthcare regimens involved with getting him on the mend, I suppose, right?
Oh, sure. Both of us, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess most of the story is about the hospital at that point, right?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
we bounced from hospital to hospital a little bit. And
Yeah. So he went into the hospital for 5 days or so. Or no, 2 days, and got a pacemaker, came home for 5 days.
Right.
And after the 5 days, it didn't work.
yeah.
It didn't
About a
work.
week,
About a
stopped
week. So
working.
he was all bright and colorful for a couple of days. I'm like, wow, maybe this is the answer. You're going to be fine. He felt great, looked great. And then day 5, it was like, boom. I'm like, oh my God.
The pacemaker stopped working.
Well, his color totally went gray. So I knew right away he was done. So I was like, oh no, we got to go back. We're going back. He didn't want to go. I was at work. I'm like, you're going. My father's taking you. You're being driven this afternoon. We had this big, huge fight again about going to the hospital. I'm like, sometimes when you're sick, you don't realize how sick you are. But so he did go, but then he didn't come back. So into St. Peter's we went. And it was that night, Dr. Copeland. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was that night. He was in, and I had to go home, take care of dogs or something, I don't know, and then I jumped my car and I went to St. Pete's, and it was like 7 o'clock at night, and there was two, I want to say student cardiologists or student nurses or somebody, and they were standing there trying to consider what was going to be done, and I went over to them and I said, if you're going to treat him like a standard cardiac case, he'll be dead by the morning, so I guess you better make some calls. And that was that. And so by the time I got back there in the morning, which was it was really early, I don't know, 6 o'clock or 7 in the morning, Dr. Copeland had arrived and said, yeah, we're going to send you over to St. Pete's or Albany Medical. They came up with this whole plan. They were in communications with Albany Med and planned to send him over. So sure enough, but he was out of it. He was, not incognito, and went to Albany Med, and we spent a month there.
Okay.
Or so, and he had a what was called an LVAD placed in. Assisted device to help his heart work.
Right.
While he waited for a heart transplant, because he was
A transplant?
Yeah.
You've had a transplant?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we were there, and there's, so many wonderful stories that came out of all that. But, all right, so we got the LVAD, which was a big deal, which is basically a life support.
Okay.
So basically, you come home with, you get something implanted in your chest
Yeah.
that helps your heart pump, and you get a battery pack that lasts a certain amount of time, and then you have a unit for your house that you put near your bed, and it runs.
Oh, so John went into ICU psychosis for a few days, which is very, very difficult to deal with for the patient and for everybody else around him. He thought everybody was trying to kill him, and he was up for 24/7, I think, for 2 straight days.
Ooh.
And we finally got that under wraps, but it was very,
Too much meds.
yeah, too many meds really can cause some of that, but also the trauma of being in so much pain.
Right.
So we got through that, and he started to come through with the LVAD, and then we decided we could take him home on Christmas.
Christmas Eve. right?
Christmas Eve. So we were able to do that. It was all very last minute. It was like all these people were running in that we knew from church to get LVAD certified for CPR, which is different than regular CPR. And we had to get an electrician in the apartment. We were renting an apartment in Waterford,
Right.
and we needed a separate outlet just for the life support system.
Right.
And somebody sent somebody on Christmas Eve, if you can believe it, and he spent 4 hours there. Of course, I had no money at the time. I gave him $100. I said, that's all I got. He's like, no problem. Merry Christmas. And he left.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a huge gift.
Nice.
Yep, and so
Meanwhile, someone came and put a tree up
tree up
at
for
our
us
house.
Really?
before we got home even. So before
and
we got
brought a
home,
bunch of Christmas
gifts and tree and food and all kinds of stuff because I had really been busy. It was, we're a small family, so it's, it can get pretty hectic. So there was a lot of help from our church, which was phenomenal. So we were home.
Go ahead and name the church. Which
Oh, it's Grace Fellowship.
Yeah.
Yep, here in Latham.
And what a team there.
Yeah, what a great team we had. Friends and just
Yeah.
the whole place really
Yeah.
rallied around us and helped us do a lot of things. And so we were home on with the LVAD. John had lost a ton of weight, and he was extremely weak. Could hardly do anything really. So it was a real slow recovery. I ended up with a new job right at the time where all this was happening. So somebody was coming at the house at 6:30 so I could go to work.
Oh boy.
And they would stay there until 10:30, and then John's parents would come and spend the rest of the day there until I got home from work. And then some people would help out, and so I could get haircuts and get food and do all kinds of things like this. So that was part of the events of, just going through the process. And then
In the meantime, we're waiting. And
we're waiting
praying
for
a heart.
yeah, we're waiting and praying for a heart. It was like on the weekend, I sat down on the sofa like this next to John, and I just said, I am so exhausted. I'm just so exhausted. And we just prayed. We were watching something on TV, and we went to bed. It was Sunday night. I had to go to work on Monday, and I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this because hospital work is very tiresome. 3 a.m, the phone goes off with this weird ringtone. And mind you, we have all this equipment in the room, like layers of equipment that makes tons of noise, like washing machine, dryer, everything running at the same time. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm looking in the equipment going, what's wrong with this equipment? What's wrong? And it's his phone, and it's the heart transplant unit. And they said, we got a heart.
Oh God.
And so it was
That was amazing.
amazing, right? So we're like, oh my God.
3
so
in the morning?
At 3 a.m. It was a snowstorm out. And we said, we got to pray. We're going to pray for the family that whatever happened, we're going to pray that everything goes according to plan. And we were thankful and grateful. And then we were running late because we had to do this whole kit thing before we could leave the house to get him to go. Plus, I had to pack him up with all his life support equipment
In the
back of the car.
In the back seat.
In the back
Because
seat.
they won't let you ride
You
in the
can't
front.
ride in the front seat.
Yeah.
And we leave the
pile in.
house in a snowstorm. We pile in. We get, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a
way.
snowstorm. We're on our way. I'm going down 787, and right as I get on 787, an ambulance gets on there, and we follow the ambulance all the way to the hospital. We had
wow.
escort all the way.
Was this like
Late at night, this is like
3 in the morning, 4.
Well, this was closer to 5.
It was
at that
closer to
point.
5 in the morning.
'Cause we had to be
the
there.
snow flying?
Yep,
Yeah.
snow was flying,
Yeah.
and there was no cars on the road. So, but we had that nice ambulance leading the way. So it was good because you couldn't see.
Was that a coincidence, that ambulance?
I don't know about coincidence, but
I don't
we
know.
were grateful to have it.
We were
in
very
front of us.
grateful to have it. And so then we got there and we made I made a bunch of phone calls, and because we had a friend of ours, Walter Tchaikovsky, who was our lead communicator for all and friends and people and what was
What a
going
great
on.
liaison.
Yeah, a liaison, and he came and he called everybody and he let everybody know what the story was, and we got a hold of our families, and we stayed at the hospital from, I don't know, I was there all morning until 5 o'clock at night. He was in surgery until almost 5 o'clock at night. And then,
Oh, it all happened that day.
yeah.
Immediately.
it's
yeah.
quick.
You have to be
Yeah, and the doctors were phenomenal. One flew in from Boston, one was here from Albany Med. There was a whole team of people. It was very interesting to deal with those people and talk with them.
Yeah.
So they told me, go home, don't come back. He needs a 2-3 days break. He won't be waking up. He won't be doing any of this. And he had a couple of, cold blues. We had a few of those one night. And me and John are confused as to when it was, when he had the LVAD or when he had the heart transplant. So it doesn't matter. But we had a couple of those scares. And the doctors called in the night and said, don't worry about it. I'll call you back as soon as we get this under wraps. So it was good. And they called back and said everything is fine. It was just a little leak. Okay, fine. And then he was home on the 11th day after a heart transplant.
Yeah.
11th.
The 11th day.
Were you able to pretty much function normally, John?
No.
At that point?
I was really weak still, but felt better.
Yeah, it felt a lot better.
And then that was the start of trying
Rehab.
to get a life back together in a rehab and
At home.
At home.
So I did all his wound care.
How many years ago was this?
2006 it was.
So we're on
15 years. It'll be coming up on the 23rd of this month.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this the story that kind of inspired you to do what you do now?
It is definitely, it's such a journey when things happen. I was going through my own little health condition when I met John, and he inspired me. You got to do some research. You got to start figuring out what's wrong with you because the doctors are killing you and it's not working. So you got to find another way. So we were trying back then. If you think about how bad the internet was back then, it was horrible. You couldn't get any information on anything, very little. So I ended up with a book on thyroid, and that helped a lot. But that started the journey, but then this happened, and all the rules and regulations they give you to go home with like plants, all of my plants had to get thrown out. The house had to be complete, like no dust and sterilized, and the food had to be, I mean, I was spraying bleach on everything, cleaning everything with bleach. I mean, it just was bleach, bleach, bleach. And I knew that was bad. And bad for me, but so it was a journey. It was a journey, and then we said, we're going to start eating healthier. We're eating vegetables and just trying
some alternate ways to stay healthy.
Yep. And then I met some people who were into some real health and wellness supplements and shakes and things like that, and that really started the journey right there. That opened my eyes. So that company that came to me, and that woman, Patty Sapita, opened my eyes to what real health was going to look like.
Right.
And so that was awesome because John was like, I'm not drinking those. And I make him this little 1 ounce shake and it was chocolate. And I said, just try it. They're really good. So, and we got off coffee. We quit all these bad things.
Were they good?
Yeah, they were very good.
I was drinking them.
He was drinking them.
Yeah.
So mind you, he would be trying to do things, but he'd only be good for a couple hours. He'd get all shaky, and he didn't have the stamina to do stuff. He didn't have the strength.
That took time to come back.
Oh, yeah.
How long would you say before you actually felt normal after the heart attack?
It's like 3
Or heart
months.
transplant.
Well, I guess I didn't really know what normal
Right.
was.
Yeah.
Like I had been down for 20-some years.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how,
Yeah,
I didn't have an expectation of how well I could feel.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just kept feeling better and better as time progressed. And
Yeah.
she just kept, introducing new things.
Meshed well together, and you were made for each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
we went from a 1 ounce shake to a 3 ounce shake to a 4 ounce shake to a full blown shake, and we haven't stopped yet since. We
Still
drink
doing
the
it.
shake
You're still
every
doing
single
shakes today?
day.
Still do shit.
You have
Yeah.
one for breakfast today?
Not yet.
Not today.
Not
Yesterday.
yet. Yesterday, though. We didn't have time today. We were like, let's see, we got to
So
do.
this got you into the idea of doing health coaching.
Oh, Well, I was health coaching without knowing it. Let's just say that.
Okay.
We were, research,
Started with
lots of
you
research.
and me,
Yeah.
and then boiled
Then
over
it went
into,
over to the people we were hanging out with because everybody was eating so poorly. I'm like, oh my God, you can't do this. This food is going to kill you, la, 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 la. And then it just snowballed and started going. And then people would get sick and they'd call up and say, well, what do you do for this? And how did this happen?
So that if you morphed into it, kind of
I fell into it. Yep.
fell into it. You say now you're doing senior care too.
Yep. I've been doing that for a couple of years
Okay.
since I left the
But
field.
this is kind of an extension of that.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely
you
is.
enjoy that? Is this like a 9 to 5 sort of thing, or how do you?
No.
It's a few hours here and a few
Yeah, I
hours
do.
there. and
I
you have to-
usually do 3 hour
bounce around.
stints, 2 hour, three for different people and for different reasons. So I do pre-rehab for seniors for their knee replacements and hip replacements. I do post too, so that's really great stuff. And just plain senior care, get them out of bed, get them ready for the day. Some only need 2 hours, and some people just need help getting back to bed or pills filled. And I do a lot of different. I call it almost like a concierge service for senior
Okay.
care, because that's what it is. I run to pharmacies, pick up drugs because their families are not in town, and it's just them living here. So their families depend upon me for taking care of all these things: hair appointments, doctor's appointments, and I give them full reports on what that's going to look like and as it's occurring. So there's a lot of accountability. Yeah,
What an amazing story.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing.
it is.
And it was 15 years ago.
It is.
And it's come
It
a
just
long way
so
since
great.
then.
Yeah. This is the month. It's January 23rd.
Oh, it is?
Yep. So that's the 15-year marker. Yeah.
So another part of the story is,
Yeah.
I guess, is after I received the heart transplant, I had been sending letters because I was curious as to whose heart that did I get,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
kind of thing. So there's all that part of the
Yep.
journey as well.
Meeting the family.
And not really expecting to hear anything back, but about a year, maybe 2 years afterwards,
Yeah, we're not sure of the timeline anymore, but
I heard back and said, yeah, they would like to meet us.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was great.
So we found out that they lived in Syracuse, and we set up a meeting with them, and we drove out there,
Yeah.
and we were nervous, of course, and
They were a big family.
they were a large family, and a very tragic story.
Yes,
that they
unfortunately.
What happened with
had.
them?
Yeah,
Well,
totally.
they have several children, but
Yeah.
the two brothers came out of
They were in a
some-
tavern,
a tavern.
and it was early. It was only 9 o'clock at night, 9:30,
I don't
10
know what
o'clock
the
at
time
night. It
was.
was early.
Okay.
And there was a little upset in the tavern. That's why they decided to leave. So one of the boys and the girl were leaving, and the person.
Both boys went
one.
out.
Okay.
Both boys came out, and the girl had gotten hit by the car
Okay.
already. And so they went over to help the girl, and the person who hit her came back around and tried to kill her, but ended up mowing into the crowd and hitting the two brothers.
Oh,
And I have Jerry's heart, and brother Jeffrey is paralyzed
Neck down.
from neck down, and he's still in a chair.
Yep.
But what a family that
Oh my
they
God,
would just
wonderful
think of
family.
others all the time.
Yep.
I mean,
Very generous.
you know, just
very.
that was the type of people that they were. They would go help someone,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and it didn't make them bitter or angry.
Mm-hmm.
They continued to want to help and wanted to help me.
those kind of people are rare.
Yeah, they're wonderful
absolutely.
people. They're really nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we went out and they made us a large Thanksgiving dinner. It wasn't Thanksgiving time;
Nope.
it was midsummer,
Yep.
and they had all their family there, and we got to meet them all, and
Wow.
and we still keep in contact.
Yeah,
and,
we do.
they-
We go
we've
to
been
all the weddings and
and
baby showers and birthdays,
Yeah.
and we go to a lot of things. But
Yeah.
yeah,
but they're great.
yeah,
We love them.
yeah.
They consider us their family,
Yeah.
and we do too. So
They're always happy to have him around.
Wow. What an amazing. This is beautiful. Yeah. It really is. Valerie, your condition wasn't obviously as serious as John's.
No.
Did I hear you? Did you mention thyroid?
Yeah, I was walking around really, really super healthy. So I weighed I was always a thin person, always underweight all my life, and never really felt good, but was relatively healthy individual. All of a sudden, out of the blue, boom, I was shrinking and swelling and shrinking and swelling. So I was not fitting in my clothes, fitting in my clothes. It just went on for a long time, and then suddenly I just crashed, where I had no energy. I couldn't do anything. I don't even know how I held my job for the months that I was there, but I did.
She used to fall asleep at a stoplight
And
and
hit
roll into
cars.
the car in front of her because she was just out of it.
Like almost a full blown narcolepsy kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. So the doctors, I had been to 5 physicians, and they all told me that I was just stressed and that I was anemic and needed psychiatric meds. So, and this
Thanks
is,
a lot.
here I
They
am.
said that.
I used to be an athlete. I was a runner, I was always very healthy. I ate salads all the time, and I just was, I smoked too back in the early days, and I drank alcohol. I mean, who didn't, right? So that all ended, and it took years to get healthy from the thyroid.
Okay.
Yep. Still
All right.
working on it. Still working on it.
So as we sit here today, then you're both extremely healthy.
Much better.
So
Much better.
much better.
Much better, I'd
That's
say.
good.
Yeah.
But it's a constant thing. Are you on meds for the thyroid?
I am, because I've been on for so long I can't get off. So, and this is one good point. If I had known what I know now, I would have never got on meds, because I could have done it naturally and with supplements. But after you're on medication for thyroid, you can't come off.
You get dependent.
Levothyroxine?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've fluctuated all over. I've been on Nature-Throid, Armor, and Levothyroxine and Synthroid.
Yeah.
Yep. All over.
All right.
Yep.
So John, do you work now? Do you go out and what do you do?
I'm a carpenter and estimator. And work for a small company, and very
For custom
grateful.
builders.
Yeah, they're just
Wonderful boss.
wonderful boss. He took me in when he probably shouldn't have, and allowed me to make some mistakes and learn, and just
Those
really.
are the kind of employers you love.
Right?
Oh yeah, for
He's-
sure.
'Cause
He's Mike Rourke. He's aces.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Name
Yeah.
the company.
Yeah, Rourke
Yeah.
Custom Builders.
Yeah,
Yep. It's a privately family-owned business, and he took John in the beginning when he was just rehabbing in the first 6 months, about the 6-month marker.
let me work
He
from
let
home.
him work from home,
Work from home.
estimating.
Imagine back then.
Back then, he was working from home on the
Working from
computer. On the computer.
Commute to the coffee pot.
Exactly.
He said it, and
Or to the shake.
yep.
Oh, that too.
Yeah,
The
work
shake,
to the
yeah.
shake. That's right, because we quit the coffee. He hired him. We said, give it a trial, however weeks you need to see how it'll go, because we didn't know how it was going to go.
Yeah.
And he ended up hiring him, and he paid him for all those free weeks.
Yeah.
So he back paid him.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
No, that was like
Wonderful.
sweet.
Wonderful man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What an opportunity.
yeah. He's
really.
been there ever since. So
Yeah. Very
What
grateful.
this
The two of you together is just an amazing story. We're kind of out of time now.
okay.
This is, I believe, and I'll just say this and make it part of the presentation. I think it's going to resonate with people, and they're going to really see that. The two of you together, it's an amazing story. It's a love story.
sure it is.
This is what
Yeah.
Valentine's Day's coming too.
Yes.
That's my wife's birthday, by the way.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Got some other value.
Yeah. So I got like two things to do at once. It better be good that day.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good with dates, but anyway, thank you, John and Valerie Ryuchi. I got your name. I said your name right.
Ryuchi.
All right. See, my name's Jones. It's easy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and we'll be following up actually
Yeah.
too, and see how things are going. Thank you
right.
very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.